So in this episode, we're talking about the quality of your sound, what you need, quality of lighting, what you need, cameras, what you may need. Now the camera part is very hard along with the audio itself. The important thing is we want to have a good clear picture, so something in focus. I film in 4K, for example, right now, and I render in 1080 when I'm done. I could do it in 4K, but I still believe I'm okay with 1080. I think it's giving me a pretty nice picture. I've watched it on the actual big screen TV. On an 85-inch, it still looks nice, clear. And I've chosen warm lights for my particular setup, and I've angled it so they don't reflect too hard on the back. I still like my logos in the back, so of course they're there. And I use warm white. This way I don't look so pale, because if I'm doing my videos on my main channel, my actual channel that this is all coming from, content-wise, that we use as reference, that's all product reviews, and I tend to have much brighter, more natural or cool lights to make the product look good and make it so this way people can see the writing and the details in the electronics. But it doesn't help me out any at all. Trust me, that's really, really bad. Now, for sound though, this is amazing. If you were to watch my oldest video I made, I don't know, 2018, when I was making them for Expert On, when I had my store, you'll see that you can hardly even hear the audio. And if the audio is corrected for the first actual 25, 30 videos, that was done by YouTube's algorithm that kind of fixed that up a bit and made it sound better, because they actually tried to put equalization in audio for a while, and they did a pretty good job, and I think they do it all the time now. Just helps balance it for the viewer when they're watching it on their TV especially. You don't want sound going up and down because the person who made the video didn't get it right. But even my audio, and I had a complete studio worth of equipment, I wasn't doing it right. Didn't know better, lesson learned. You want to make sure and listen to it back. If you're listening to it on a PC, on your computer with headphones on, the volume should be no more than 50%, and you should hear yourself no problem. You should be able to make it obscenely, uncomfortably loud, and that means you did a good job. So your audio should be full gain. You only want to be one off the top when it comes to dB. There's a unity part on your recording meters. You want to be just below that, like 1 or 2 below that. This way you know you did a good job. You don't want to be 3 over. If you hit once, 1 over, that's fine. But if you're killing it and you're always 3, 4, 6 over, it's just going to sound bad when you render it. It's going to sound distorted. So you don't want to have that. Same thing when you're recording. When you're recording, what you can't see is off camera. I'm using Audacity. I invested in some Rode microphones, some wireless. This gives me 2 lapel sets to wear, and it has the unit that records. This stuff is so advanced. This isn't the cheap stuff you're going to find on Amazon for 50 bucks. This is up in the $400 or $500 price range. This has built-in compressors in it. It has a limiter in it. It has recording function capability. It has backup in it. It does all the magic in the microphone, and then I can either record straight to a computer if I want, record strictly on this as a backup, or send it through an actual mixer, which is what I do, which is connected via USB to my computer and then records sound. Yes, I've gone to an awful lot of trouble to make sure that you get the best possible audio. Do you have to do all of this magically? No. If you have a DSLR camera, or if that's your intention, then you can simply make sure you get one that has a microphone jack on it, which at this point pretty much all of them do, but you do want to make sure it's there. Then you can plug the actual wireless lapel mics right into the camera. Now again, if you're just doing a talking head, you could just end up with one of these guys right here, which is basically a microphone that sits on your desk. This is a dynamic microphone. It's a hyper cardioid dynamic microphone, so it's built to have a lot of gain in it, so it can be used like you see everybody on all the videos where they're just sitting there talking into a microphone. But this is going to be here and here only. So yes, I do have this, but it's over here and I don't have it on right now. I'm just using what I have right here, which is my Rode wireless system. Now when the video is done, I am going to make sure that I've recorded as close to, like, minus 6 dB from the top, so let's say 3/4 full gain. I'm going to make sure that there's no tall peaks, me basically making a stupid sound that really jacked it up, and also making sure that I have room for all the exciting words that I like to use to motivate people into being excited about what's going on. I may lower all that to line it up a bit more. Then I may decide to add a gain control to the whole thing, bring the whole thing up a bit, fill up the whole gap if I can, and then I'll add a compressor to make everything that's low sound louder and everything that's too loud bring it down a bit. This evens out the sound across the whole thing, so when I'm not so excited, so when I'm not so enthusiastic, it sounds just as good as when I am. So it takes those low portions of my voice and brings them up, and takes those high portions of my audio and brings it back down again. That's what that's doing, and that's called gain control. Now, again, for video, you just got to make sure that your camera is not set in a focus mode that constantly is moving back and forth and changing the focal points. Lots of cameras are out there. Price range is incredible. I will have links down below for the ones I have, but I have some Canons. I have one that records in 1080. I have the one that you're looking at me on right now, which records in 4K. I also have two GoPros, which happen to now be older models. They're, of course, they're Hero 8s, which happens to be the worst possible GoPro camera after they added the app, which was for webcam services options. It just burns through batteries. I mean, physically, the batteries swell like a balloon, get stuck in the unit, they break. Pain in the ass. I had a choice now to buy cameras. I'm definitely buying the 360 series of products out there. It's just a better camera product than GoPro. I don't know what happened to GoPro, but I'm definitely going 360 from now on. If you need action cameras, that's the way to go. If you need regular cameras, of course, DSLR is going to do a better job. You can automatically tell the difference between me recording myself on a DSLR on my Canon versus me recording myself on a GoPro indoors. There's just never enough light indoors to compensate for the GoPro's setup. The GoPro is meant for high-speed action, that sort of thing. Outside, light saturation like crazy. It does a beautiful job. Indoors, it tends to look a little funky. It's okay for products, so if you're recording stuff with it, that's okay. But when it's recording me, I'm never really happy with the way I come out on the GoPro. Lots of options to play with, lots of things to learn. One step at a time, in focus, good lighting, balance it out, and you'll be fine. Remember, I don't know what kind of channel you have. If you're going to have that fishing channel, you're just basically looking for lighting outdoors. So you're going to look for a couple of action cameras that you're going to use. You're going to make choices. They have the nice 360 cameras. It records all the way around, so you can, doesn't matter which way the camera's facing, you'll be able to go home, pick the actual placement of your face, and the camera will always just look perfect. It's amazing, the technology that's out there. Sound? Absolutely dead on. If your demographic is my demographic, where my demographic on YouTube says that I go from 35 to 85 as an age group, sound quality is absolute. The demographics from 40 to 60 is absolutely drilled in that it has to sound good. Just like I get annoyed with bad sound quality, everybody in my age group gets annoyed with bad sound quality. Regardless if you're watching it on your TV, on your phone, in your car, just remember, anywhere you're going to listen to a video, your viewers are going to listen to it there. So take the time to listen to your videos and try and make them better the next time around if they didn't sound as good as you thought they would in, let's say, a car or on the TV or on the phone. So I hope this video helped you out today. And you know what? If you've got comments, leave them down below. And hopefully I've earned a like button from you. So hit that like button. It's very important because that tells the algorithm that you like this video. So that's your goal for getting your viewers, is to get them to hit that like button. And if you really want to be part of the program, by all means, subscribe. That's an extra bonus point for me, and I'd appreciate it if you do that for me. If you're thinking, how do I know how good my videos are coming along? What do I have to keep in mind now that I've done all these things? So in the next video, we're going to be talking about keeping your videos concise and structured. This is going to mean how long should they be, what their format should be, what your consistency should be. We're going to talk about all that in this video here. It's a really important video, so that's the one you're going to want to watch next.